Hello everyone. A very good afternoon to all of you present here, and hearty welcome to this press conference on the penultimate day of the Golden Jubilee edition of the International Film Festival of India. We are happy to have you here, and we have with us Mr. George Dupont, Director General of ICFT, the International Council for Film and Television and Audiovisual Communication. Yeah, yes. And we also have Mr. Xueyuan, is the project manager of ICFT. Before I hand over the stage to them, a brief introduction on why we are here. So, as you would recall, Albert Einstein once said that generations to come will scarce believe that such a one as this ever in flesh and blood walked upon this earth. I think almost all of you know whom he was referring to. He was talking about Mahatma Gandhi, India's father of the nation, and the world's advocate of non-violence, peace, and tolerance. His life has been a story of heroic effort to establish the values of truth and non-violence in human life. The world today recognizes him as a far more compelling social innovator than humanity ever realized. To propagate his message, his 150th birth anniversary is being celebrated by the Government of India at national and international levels. Going back 25 years, UNESCO, the United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization, issued a commemorative medal in 1994 to mark the 125th birth anniversary of Mahatma Gandhi. This followed a recognition by the UNESCO General Conference in 1993 of what it termed as the seminal influence of Mahatma Gandhi's life and thought in the promotion of peace and international understanding, the socio-economic transformation of human society, and non-violence, secularism, and intercommunal harmony. It has been more than 70 years now since Gandhiji departed from our midst, but in the midst of darkness, light prevails, as engraved on the commemorative medal issued by UNESCO as a tribute to him. Since then, since 1994, the ICFT UNESCO Gandhi Award is being given to a film that best reflects Mahatma Gandhi's ideals of peace, tolerance, and non-violence. And George Dupont, Director General, and Xueyuan, the Project Manager of ICFT, are here with us today to talk about this coveted and prestigious medal, which is given every year for a film that promotes and advances the values espoused and lived by Gandhiji. This year, at the 50th edition of IFFI, there are 8 films which are in contention for this award, one of them being an Indian film. I would request the Director General, George Dupont, to speak about the award, to speak about also the films which are in contention, the process which has been behind their evaluation, and also his experience of being a part of this movement to advance and promote Gandhiji's values among more and more people in more and more times to come. Over to you, George Dupont.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you very much. First of all, thanks for all of you film fans and professionals to be here. And we are very happy also to be here again. It's now 5 years ago that we started with IFFI, because we thought around, as we are participating all around the world film festivals, we saw that the IFFI was a place where you have to be. And of course, very happy to learn that the 50th anniversary is celebrating, you are celebrating this year. and therefore we are double times happy to be here. Coming back now to the award and our prize, the ICFT International Film Prize, for a film which is in line with, of course, the UNESCO mandate. And the UNESCO mandate also is in line with Mahatma. And we are celebrating also 150 years of Mahatma. It's an important one. So the process, how we are running this, as you know, we just arrived. That means we are not spending from the 20th, there's a pity, by the way, from the 20th until the 28th tomorrow to select a film in line with our criteria. And therefore, we left this after an agreement with IFI as a partner, that they are selecting, pre-selecting the films, which makes it then for us easier. I say easier, but also more difficult, because we have not a large range of movies, and our jury, composed by 6 that means professionals, of which our chairman is a filmmaker from Niger, an ambassador to UNESCO, and then Costa Gavras, and then our other team, which are this time balanced between gen and ladies. That means we have 3 ladies, and one is coming from the States. She is director of the Film Association, Stanford University, for environmental pictures. And then the youngsters, a very young lady, who was performing last year very well in selecting with us, not on the list, but we are trying more and more to get the young people involved, like my colleague here on my left side. Also to move not on the traditional films, but as you know, the new technology is there, and everybody can do a film with a mobile. As you know, you go to in the corner and you can shoot the film if you can, if you find also a distributor, a producer. That's certainly not the most important, but especially to be worldwide seen. That's the most important. And after the process, when we are getting these pre-selection films, we are then running in Paris, of course, not the last minute, but we are organizing then screenings with those who are in Paris. As I told you, we have people from Niger and, of course, from the States. And it goes then remote, not controlled, but to just discuss and then to find a solution, and also the selection of the final award for the Gandhi Medal and the ICFT prize. Sometimes, I think like last year, we have been in a difficult situation like this year, that I have to admit that it was very difficult and hard to speak about who we might select, because politically the world changed, and also the taste of the people, that means those who are in the rooms, are sometimes better words than the film critics, I have to admit, and they know far more about films than others, and especially the youngsters. The youngsters, they want to show up, and more, for instance, living in France, the high educated people, that means the high school end up performing students. Of 10 who succeed the high school, 6 are going to communication. That means it's a very, very interesting figures I can leave to you. And of course, everybody has internet, which I have also to admit, still 4 billion are not connected. But when you go to Africa, everybody has not only one mobile, but sometimes 2. And they want to do films. And therefore, in our case, not on the traditional way, we try. we try to find out how we can get these youngsters involved in creation. And therefore, my colleague here at my left side can speak to you quickly about the platform we wanted, and she is in charge for this, to get the people more involved in creation, because creation is certainly also one of the mandate of UNESCO, that people have access on communication and on creation, and of course for the sake of peace. Cinema, we like cinema, of course, and we have to keep cinema alive for the sake of peace, I may say, and IFI is certainly a lighthouse, and you have to shine all around the world and to try to get also feedback from your colleagues on the professionals and also those who has things to say in environmental problems, etc., etc. But jumping back to the selections, then after 3 weeks hard work, because it was not easy to select this pre-selection, as I told you, but finally we came with a result which you will see tomorrow on the closing ceremony. I thank you very much, and I will pass quickly the word to my colleagues. The mic is to you. Thank you very much.
Can you?
Yeah.
Thank you very much for receiving us here. And I would like to know if you have a question, firstly, before I following my colleagues speaking.
Okay, I mean, you're free to share your experience about on working on this project, on ICFT, and on this award, on the impact this award has had on the kind of films that get made and how they are received. And anything else you would like to add?
Okay. Thank you very much for your questions and the freedom that you gave me.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you very much for all of you to be here. As you know, that my colleague who's sitting just next to me is a very good speaker. You know, it's a very tough job to speak after him because he has already said almost everything. I would like to share a little bit of my experience with IFI because I met the executive team of IFI at the Cannes Film Festival in France. And amazingly, that we had a lot of common in our thinking, in our goals in the future. That's how we came to work with each other immediately, and we are very honored to be here since the year of 2015 to celebrate the amazing event here with you. And I've noticed that with my colleague, since we have an international team over there at UNESCO headquarters, with our jury members, the more films that we see and the more diversity we discovered within this film festival. And this is also what my colleague said about the future plan of ICFT in the platform for creativity and innovation for young people especially. We have 3 goals for the new platform. The first one is to, of course, follow the mandate and the spirit of UNESCO to build peace in the mind of men and women. And the second one is to stimulate young people's creativity and innovation, especially moving image. And the third one is to explore the endless possibility of moving image and also the interdisciplinary development between moving image and other disciplines. So these are basically the 3 things we're going to do. And of course, one of the main goals is also to develop a better communication between young people and the professionals, to exchange ideas, to exchange experience, and to make more creations, innovations based on moving image. The first day that I arrived in this at this film festival of this year, I was luckily visiting not only the cinemas but also the exhibition, which is just handling over there. The reason why we're talking about now not only cinema is that, as what I discovered, we're not only celebrating cinema here, we are celebrating moving image. Moving image is a universal and general concept of what we're doing now here. I discovered the excellent history of Indian movies here, and I discovered also how with the time and we started from only pictures, and now we use VR, we use high technologies, and that is the amazing technology of moving image, which is developing with time. So the platform that we're going to develop, we're going to launching in a very near future, is that we are coming back to the base of moving image and to study the process of the development of moving image with other professionals and young people to have more creation, innovation in the future. And there will be 3 categories that we're going to do for the platform. The first one is, I'm sorry, I think he likes me. You know, maybe I ate too much honey this morning, so I'm sorry. The first category is that, of course, we're following UNESCO's mandate and UNESCO's program to do some events. Now we're focusing mainly on the Convention 2005 that we're talking about a lot, and we're gonna organize something in the culture of the diversity of culture and freedom of expression. The second one, of course, is the Silk Road, and which is a program or some programs at UNESCO, and also I'm Chinese, so it's one of our initiatives these years. I'm sorry to mention that. And the second category is we're going to develop a network for ambassadors of moving image, is to enroll the young people from all over the world to explore moving image as an art form and also as a technology to make a better world and to promote the culture of peace. The third one is the personally that I like the best is to explore and research and to work together and with people from different disciplines, that we call it a interdisciplinary center of the platform, is to see what we can do with moving image. What is the magic of moving image? Not only that we can only make films with moving image, what else we can do? I think it's the most imaginary thing that we're going to develop in the future. So the automate goal of the platform, which is called for short PCI, and which gives people a little bit of impression of the computer and internet. The automate goal is to build peace in the mind of man and woman, and it's to build the culture of peace following UNESCO's mandate and UNESCO's spirit. And we would invite all the people, not only the young people, of course. The main purpose is for the young people, which are the future, but we would like the contribution of all people who are interested in not only in the moving image, but also interested in the related areas of moving image, and also all the creative people who want a colorful life, a happier life, to join us and to help us for the creation and the innovation in the future. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Xueyuan and George, both of you for sharing. Yeah, thank you. So thank you, Ms. Hun and Mr. Dupont for sharing your thoughts on the initiatives that you have been taking for promotion of creativity, innovation, and for promotion of films that advance peace. In this context, I have a question for both of you. Could you please throw some light on the changes which might be required at the level of primary and secondary education, especially in terms of inculcating the attitudes, the right attitudes, and cultivating the skills which are required among youngsters to make films and to utilize the power of moving images with responsibility and in the right direction?
Yeah, thank you for your question. I forgot this, of course. That's one of the heaviest programs of UNESCO. That means the media education. Media education, we are just out of the General Conference in Paris, and all the heads of states and prime ministers and ministers of culture had mentioned this, the urgency to put in the curricula anywhere in the world this media education. That doesn't mean to tell them what is bad or good. It's only awareness building, because everybody has his tradition, his own behavior, I may say, but it's the awareness building, how to judge and how to analyze the pictures, and especially in the press domain. As you may know now, the famous word which you find everywhere, be careful on fake news, etc., etc. So you have to be very careful how you read your newspapers, etc., and how you watch the TV, and how you go for the films. I may say the film is a little bit different, thanks God, by the way. As the last film you might have seen, or is also on the program, on Costa Gavras, about Greece. As Greece has been punished by the European authorities, he just had this film, which was shown here at the IFI, about a book was written by an economist who was the Minister of Economy, and then he slumped out of the government. And Costa Gavras says he is very anxious to see how people can be treated. Naughtily, I may say, and useless sometimes, and no more, who cannot more express their opinion about how governments are treating them, and of course the corruption problems, etc., etc. So I don't know if you had seen the film. It's I think it was shown here on your program. So this is a very, very tight item, and also as the member states came last week to Paris highlighting these important elements, I may say they go home and then they are starting again not to leave the people all the information you need. And for good governance, it's very important to get information, not fake ones, but realistic ones, and also to tell the people what can you bring to the country, and not expecting every time that those who are on place are helping you or assisting you, and you are sitting there waiting for a better life. I think it's a common interactive process, which is certainly a long process, because not every country is on the same line. And that's, of course, for the school, even in my country, which is a tiny country, in Europe, without colonies, etc. We have an amazing, I may say, a lot of difficulties to introduce media education. Because the Prime Minister, he knows very well, if we tell the students, be careful what he's talking to you, he will close all the medias immediately. So with a long dialogue between those who are on the government, that means on governing the countries. And but UNESCO has the mandate. And as I told you, they came to Paris highlighting again, and we have been very happy to hear from all these people, heads of states, prime ministers and ministers of culture and education, that this is certainly for the future one of the most important elements for, of course, to live together in peace. And IFI is one of the places in which we expect to pass this message. And I think they are aware about it, and we closely with you to work on this, and then to see with other countries as well how we can join this effort. And please join us, that we're very happy for the sake of peace. Thank you.
You would like to say something?
Do I still need to talk about this? No,
okay.
so I want to express my pressure to speak after my colleague.
You can speak earlier than you.
Yes, next time if you have a question, I speak first. No, thank you very much for my colleague's expression. And well, as everybody knows that the moving image are the most powerful way of expressing ideas and expressing informations. I would like to maybe add two things. One is the education through a moving image. The other one is what to do with moving image. Well, the education of with a moving image is now, I think, basically what a lot of people are doing through school, the technologies and the skills that we're teaching. And now, no matter if the people who are handling it are professionals or the young people from the schools, they have all very developed skills because of the new technologies and all the teaching materials and the skills. So there's nothing that I can commend, because you're all using a very good way, a universal way to do it. And the other one is more interesting as to what to teach and what we can do with moving image. Like this is what my colleague just said, the media education. Is a media education a real education, or is a way of expression? This is what I want to think about, and this is what I want to invite all the people in front of me to think about, because it is about information, it is about expression, it is also about what people can learn from what the media gives. And I think I can't give a comment or a conclusion for it. It is an open question for us to think about now and in the future. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. I would now invite questions. Yes.
Hello, sir. Good evening. I'm Suresh here from Online Media. My question is to ma'am first and then you.
Thank you very much. No, don't leave me.
The question is, your organization tie up with one is National Geography, other one is History Channel. This is one. The second one is with Netflix, with Apple TV, as well as Amazon Prime. What sort of a tie-up do you have, and how do you plan to progress in a few years from now on with these two?
I have to answer firstly. You know that Netflix is forbidden during the Cannes Film Festival because it's a conflict between the new way of distribution with the traditional ones. This is a very interesting question because with the phones, Netflix, internets, we can quickly have more and more information, and we can view more and more information quickly through internet. And this is a good thing because this is how fast the world is growing. But there's one thing that I want to mention, that most of the time, either on the street or in the metro or in a public place or even in a bar, in a restaurant, people are all doing this. Are there more communication, physical communication between human with the mobile phones? So this is maybe what we want to do when we have the new platform. What about that we launch together a international day without mobile? I mean, I'm a good supporter for the audiovisual communication, but is there a limit? Yeah, do we have to set a limit for it? Thank you.
So you are asking us about the GAFA problem, which is now highlighted by everybody, and even the European Commission, and that's a big deal, I may say, between Hollywood. Because it's in industry, it's Google, etc., who try to introduce their platform on films or whatever, because I think we might be running off any images or stories. I have to admit some series of the states, that means coming from the United States, are well done because they are professionals. And people has no more the time to think about. If, for instance, in France, the production is so-called more artistical, or I may say for intellectuals, the rooms are empty because, of course, nobody wants to have headaches when they are coming out of the rooms. But the GAFA problem for me is only commercial big business, in which you have to find, Asia has to find its place as well. And I make China, India, and other countries have a big, large production, and you can go on this market, but you have then to advise those who are distributing, and the networks, satellites, etc., and of course internet, so you have the facilities to do it. But as my colleague said, everybody, when you are outside in public service transport, everybody is looking on his screen. Nobody is more talking to each other, which is unfortunately not the way in communicating and also to express themselves. But again, GAFA is coming anyway. I think in Cannes they have been not allowed to compete. In Toronto, the TIFI festival, they have been. And in other places, more and more is competition. And I may say in this way, competition is important because it's getting the brains of those who are producing to find other ways, other languages. Because, okay, film language has to be still the basic, but you can produce a different way, as I told you. I met youngsters who are doing in the corner, as I told you, with the mobile films, short films, with certainly only a couple of bucks, and that's available. But they have not the channel to be online or any problem, because normally if you're on business, you are looking to have film stars who are well known, and you do your money on this. But I think that's not our task. We want to find out those who are hidden and who has a lot to say, and to provide them access on any channels. But as I said, to all channels, and again, difficult, because when you are in front of a director of a big network, he is telling you immediately, or asking you immediately how much I can earn from this. So, and then we are weak because we cannot tell him that he will or we will have a success on distributing or broadcasting this kind of element. But for me, for the time being, I may say, more commercial to protect. For instance, Europe has their regulations. You know, they are spending more time on regulation, and of course, the other end of the world, I mean, the over the sea from our end, I mean, the States and the America, they are overwhelming then with production coming to Europe. And when you watch TV or whatever, you have more foreign films, and especially those coming from the States, than from Europe. That's where the problem lies.
So these platforms are multinational platforms. Are they regional and country-wise platforms also who are into this market?
Platform.
Anyone?
Youngsters. You have the floor. You have the floor.
I have the floor.
I will.
Lady first. You're asking about the market.
China, do you have a, like Alibaba in China?
Mm-hmm.
Do you have a platform for the region? Does each country have a region? Or the Europeans too? Do they have one? These are multinationals. Amazon global.
Mm-hmm.
Regional wise, do you have any platforms which work the same?
Well, Amazon is a commercial platform. Yeah.
In China, do you have something coming up?
Oh, of course. Alibaba, Jack Ma is he has. Oh, you know that he's dismissed already, and now he likes working in film industry. Yeah, and he has a company that's financed several film productions already. I'm not sure if you have heard the recent one. They made it in 3D. The 3 miles of peach blossom tree, something like that in English, and I appreciate a lot their After Effects that they made. You were talking about Amazon. Amazon is American company, yeah, and multi, yeah, and it's developed from the U.S., right? And if we're talking about this, I have to mention that the 11th of November, which is, you know, in China, there's a sign, the symbol, it's a special symbol of the state. You know, if we write it as 1111, do you know what that means? It's the National Single Day. So what are we going to do in the National Single Day? We have to go shopping. So the Alibaba, which is called Taobao in China, that they give a big sale of all the products. So we can buy a lot of things at the same day with little price compared to other days. This is what I mentioned, that for shopping, if we're talking about the platforms for this mission for distribution, we have internationally YouTube. And in China, we have Youku, we have iQIYI, we have a lot of this kind of platforms for free to all the people to make their own films or to make their own short movies about their life, about their hobbies, about their ideas in the mind, and to show, to share, and to communicate with people who are interested in the subjects. And we have a lot of these platforms in China. We have a lot of these platforms in Europe. This is a European guy. And we have this in other countries too. Like in India, do you have this kind of national-based international platform too? Could you please tell me the name of it? Yeah, but I suppose that this is the same purpose as it's the same function. We all want to do the same thing with this kind of platforms. And I suppose that there's something that my colleague wants to add.
No, I think, I'm sorry, charming lady was asking. You are on your mobile. You have the phone. Yes,
So, when you talk about the youth platforms, do you have anything specific for India, and are you looking to explore it, through IFFI to reach out to young filmmakers here?
Well, the platform is an international platform. It is basically for everyone. So the second category that I mentioned, I think, which should be very interesting, firstly, to develop is to build a international network for international ambassador with young people. So of course we'll be very happy to enroll young people, young filmmakers, or young creators from India, because I'm a big fan of Indian cinema. I just love it. The first day from my childhood, I remember film that I already started to remember Indian movie that I saw with my parents, and it's such a joy. Yeah. This the name I only remembered in Chinese. The plot is like there's no, this all the Bollywood stories are love story basically. I think there's a rich girl who wants to experience a kind of wildlife, and he met a guy. No, I think it's their family members have been killed, and then she ran away. And during her way of running away, he met a guy, and they think this group a kind of adventuring musical group, and to go on a tour, on a show tour. I'm sorry about that. I'll tell you later. I still have the picture of it. It's like
you have internet, you have your email.
Yeah. I'll give you all the. I still remember that, and we learned some songs, Indian songs, beautiful Indian songs from those films that I love a lot. So I find that Indian people are very creative, and you also not only the creation not only are in the contents but also technology. You are a country of technology too. I really appreciate of working with Indian people, as you're also very international. Now we are at UNESCO headquarters, a lot of young people from India, and we learn a lot with each other. So we come back to the platform. Of course, we will be very happy to develop more future projects between the new platform and IFI. So we would like to see how we're gonna do together. For example, the ambassador of moving image, and also the interdisciplinary activities between moving image and other subjects and other sectors. We'll be very happy to talk more about it with the executive group of the festival. Next year. Soon, in the near future. We're now working on it.
Thank you. I think.
Can I?
Okay, let us make that the last question.
Okay. Good afternoon. My name is Runa Agarwal, and I'm with All India Radio. I have two questions. My first is to Monsieur Dupont, and that is, given your association with IFFI and the medal category for the last 5 years, how do you see the evolution? Have you seen an evolution? Clearly, the number of films in the category each year is different. So if you could talk a little bit about how you see it having progressed from 2015 to now. And the second question is to you around the involvement of youth. When you're talking about young creators, young filmmakers, what about people who are neither creators nor filmmakers, but are just young film enthusiasts? I don't know how relative the young is, but the film enthusiasts part at least.
So you want to know my feeling or my professional view on how, since 5 years when we have been involved. I may say, well, you put me in the front of a right question. I think movie, what we are receiving, I say I don't put now the question to our colleagues from IFI. What has discovered that the films are more, how you say, aggressive in some way, according to the world behavior. This is a positive point. I mean, again, that the people can see what happened and not to be blind and listen to those who are everywhere trying to govern them. That means to control them, or etc., etc. Because that's, I may say, the major challenge we are facing. That everybody is now under security, watching everywhere, and you have no more private life. I think that's a big challenge for the future. I don't know how far we can go on this, because I may say surveillance cameras, if you have a good director, he might do an exceptional film with all this material. Thousands and millions and billions of tape recorded, that means recorded material. But if he, in some way, I think they are getting more films, and their work is more difficult to select them and to get it to us. But we have our criteria. This criteria has been set up in 1947. That means the basic constitution of UNESCO. So that we are then relying, of course, in either way that has to fit in this. But as you know, the technology involved. If you watch an old film, for instance, I remember, it's the Psychose from Hitchcock, when you see the famous picture or sequence where the lady is killed in the shower, what the hell is going on? When you see it, it's so slow, you know. But I think it's still valid, I may say, but it's no more the same way in catching and looking on the movies, because there's also an evolution. I think we are running in a world where everything is fast. People cannot concentrate at school. For instance, the teacher are complaining that the cool kids can only sit there 5 minutes, and they are constructing their courses for 1 hour, but the main and diluting the 5 minutes important topics. So my time, we spend far more time and reading, also going to movie, because there was no TV. I'm generation of no TV, far later, radios, etc. So it's an access which is completely different. It's also socially speaking, where you have unemployment, big problems, so you cannot get the people to watch TV without an empty stomach. And that's also for education, in which we say first, get the kids in full stomach, and then you can get him to school. But still school has to be also there, available to them. So I think the world is changing, and I think we are in a transition period in which this modern technology is certainly affecting, socially speaking, a lot, but also a chance that this technology brings us all together and to think more deeply what we can do for the future and also for the kids, because they are the world runners in tomorrow. Thank you.
So I'm going to answer your question. And thank you very much for your question. It's a very good question, because this is also a question that we were thinking about all the time. I'm going to answer you the first question. Why? How do we define young people?
Yeah. I would request you to kindly make it
short,
brief. Yeah.
No problem.
The next press conference.
Of course.
Are waiting.
Yes.
Please do answer, but kindly.
Yeah. The question. I think all the people who have hope, all the people who are pursuing happiness are young. No matter what is their age, they're young. And secondly, that second question is that how do we, yeah. Okay. Okay. So film industry is a very important part of creative industry. So, and also film industry is a complex industry which contains a lot of creative parts. So if even the people who are not a creative person in film industry, they can be creative in any other sectors. So we need everybody to join us for this creation. And also, creative industries are among the fastest developing industries of the world. And of course, it's also one industry which helps a lot of the development of sustainable development of the society, and also that's why we are gonna launch this platform based on moving image, but to develop and to discuss about the interaction of moving image and other creative sectors. So basically, everybody can be of help in moving image and in creative industries. That's if you want to discuss. Of course, with pleasure. Thank you.
Shall we wind up?
No, I think we are late, and our colleagues are waiting for us to leave the room as fast as possible. Digital-wise speaking, not analog. I am from analog, so I take my time. But I'm sorry. Thank you for your questions, and I forgot to announce that we are, I think, granting and awarding IFI for the 50th anniversary, and that is a joint venture from UNESCO and IFI. And ICFT, I'm sorry, with the medal, that means the Fellini medal, which is also UNESCO medal, and that is for the 50th anniversary for all their common work they did for 50 years now. And we are very proud that the joint venture really with UNESCO, which we decided, UNESCO headquarters, and ICFT, to award those who are working in this area. So it's an award, certificate, diploma of honor, and also to honor the work done by all those who are not seeing it on the screen, but also all those who are behind the screen, because they merited as well, and I think that's the most important point. And as I said, can we get the movie still alive for the sake of peace? Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. So we are very happy that ICFT and UNESCO are awarding IFI on the occasion of completion of the 50 years of the festival with the special ICFT UNESCO Fellini Medal. We are very honored, and we are grateful to you for having come here and spoken about your work. We wish you all the very best and hope that cinema stays alive and also contributes to keeping alive the ideals espoused and lived by the father of the nation. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone. Yes.
Thank you for your time.
We have to go out.
No. That is a. Have you launched? You can have a good.
Yes, I know.